Alright, let's discuss concessions. It's probably some of the more difficult stuff that are on the SATs, but there are enough questions, so I made lessons. So let's first talk about what the word concession means, right? You could probably break the word down. CON, the prefix means with or together. CES means go, right? Go together or just go. You could think of probably another word that has CES inside or CSS, like incessant, and in means not, right? Incessant means not stopping, right? And the suffix means a thing at the end of a word is ION, and it means noun. So what are concessions? They're noun form of the word, basically the word concede. And concede is the same thing. CED means go, right? That's why you could have words like recede, which means go backwards, right? But you could probably look at my other videos on vocabulary to go over that kind of stuff. But today I'm going to cover concessions. So let's go back. So concessions are basically they are, well, concession or concede, again, sorry, I want to tell you, means yielding, right? Concede. They basically means you're kind of giving credit to something. And another word that they use for this is granted, right? I think it's better, you'll understand better what these mean by looking at the example. So try to detect what the pattern is for all these sentences. The first sentence over here says granted, right? Cats are not as adorable and affectionate as dogs, but cats do have an independent, alluring quality about them. Right? And you know, don't rant on me saying like cats they are adorable. I'm sure they are, but this is just a sentence, right? By the way, I do favor dogs. Cats are not as adorable. This word granted is setting up for this part over here. So I'm yielding to the fact. I'm conceding. I am admitting, right? Admitting that yes, they're not as, you know, adorable and affectionate, but so this is the hint. These are the connectors that tells you that there's a concession somewhere, right? So whenever you see something like granted, what usually happens is there's a contrast, right? Contrast. And let's look at another sentence. That's the same thing. Try to find where the concession is. Yes, cats are not as adorable and affectionate as dogs, but cats do have an independent, alluring quality about them, right? So this is the same thing, and you can detect it right here. There's yes, and then but. So why did they do this? One, you're giving credit, or you're admitting to something over here, so that you can contrast later on. And that's exactly what a concession is, right? You're yielding to some fact, and you're going to argue against it, right? So let's look at another example. Alright, another example is where they give you this part where it says same thing, same format, right? They do like true, yeah, I admit it. Cats are not as adorable, right? But here's the other word, that contrast. So this is over here. This part is the concession, right? This is the contrasting argument. Sometimes on the passage, or they'll ask you in a question, where's the concession? And there, it's almost literally word for word. It's verbatim, right? It says, I concede that. So what is this guy conceding? That cats are not as adorable and affectionate as dogs. And then this is the contrast right away, right? So let's look at one more example. Probes have recently discovered abundant water on Mars, albeit in the form of permafrost, ground that is permanently frozen. So this is actually a derivative. I've taken this and trying to change this to make it applicable for the lesson. Anyways, it's taken from PSAT. And where is the concession in this question? I'll give you the background on this passage. This passage was about how you know, we found water on Mars, and they're arguing yes or no. And this guy, his argument is that no, I mean, even with water on Mars, you know, we can't have life there, right? So the question was, this sentence includes the use of, and then you have to pick A, retraction, or B, concession, right? Obviously the answer to this question is concession, but I'll go over why, right? So this guy is basically saying that no, even with water, we're not gonna, you know, find life on Mars, right? And probes have recently discovered abundant water on Mars. So yeah, we found water on Mars, right? Except this word, this word is where it goes wrong, right? I'm not saying the sentence is wrong, and it's where he doesn't agree, right? So, the concession is, yeah, I concede. Yeah, we found water on Mars, right? But, albeit, basically is a fancy but, right? It's a fancy way of saying the word but. Except the caveat is, and I mention the word caveat very often, which means warning or clarification. You should never use the word albeit, like, although. Use it like although, but don't ever put it in the front of a sentence. I don't want to say never ever, right? I've seen it really, really rarely in the front of sentences. But don't use it like, although I like dogs, I own a cat, right? That's normal sentence, but you shouldn't do that with albeit. You can't do albeit I like dogs, I own a cat. It's not used that way, right? I don't recommend you using it that way. So, back to the qualifier over here. So this is not a qualifier, concession. So this is the concession over here. Yeah, I agree. We found a lot of water on Mars. Except, yeah, this is the contrast. Albeit means although in the form of permafrost means this guy is kind of reducing the argument that we found water. And the rest of the passage goes on to say that, even with, water, which is frozen, we're really not going to have life. So, what is the difference between, this lesson's about concession, so obviously the answer is B, but what is the difference between A and B? Right? A, retraction, which you hear a lot, especially on newspapers and a lot of article publishing, is where you take back what you say. You cancel what you say. So, we printed something, this happened in 1997. Oh, actually, sorry, we were wrong. We're going to print the retraction. It happened in 1998. That would be a retraction. But this one's not canceling what the prior statement is. Not cancellation. This is a reduction. That's why, the concession, this part over here, which they mention about, hey, yeah, I agree, there's water on Mars, but not really. It's frozen, right? That will be a concession.